this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Today with a quick card idea for somebody who loves knitting. One of my crafty friends, she's really into knitting, she's fabulous, she makes lovely things. So it's her birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to make a quick card, and I've chosen this stamp. This is from Made to Surprise from the, I'll show you the set here. I made a card recently with a sewing machine, so this has got the wool here. And I have already stamped the happy birthday sentiment. This is from Visible Image, and I've stamped that in a dark blue, but the actual stamping of the wool, I want to do that in black, and then I want to show you something else I'm going to do with that. So I want to have this stamp all over the background, but not go over this. So I have got some masking tape here. This is fairly sticky, so I'm actually putting this on my t-shirt here. Peel it off to just have it less sticky. It's one way of doing this. If you still find it a little bit too sticky, just do that again. So because the last thing I want is for this to tear my piece, and this will just about fit here, and I have deliberately torn it a bit funnily. Just thinking whether I need to tear it a little bit more on this end. I didn't want to cut it, but you can do that as well. I just wanted this scraggy look. There we go. So I'm going to ink my stamp up. I'm sure you've seen that before. Don't do what I usually do, is put my finger into the ink pad. So, and then I can stamp over this, apply a little bit more pressure where I've got the what's it called, masking tape, and I'm going to change the direction of this, and I'm going to stamp this all over, but I also want to go off the edge there. That's why I've got the magazine here done as scrap paper. I have cut, by the way, my panel to 4 3/4 by 6 3/4 to go on a 5 by 7 card. So I'm going to do the rest of the stamping off camera, and then I'll show you how we quickly colour the actual wool bit. I decided just to have the full effect of that masking paper, your masking tape, I'm actually going to do some ink blending. By the way, if you're wondering, I didn't stamp this properly. I should have left the ink on there, or the stamp a little bit longer, but it doesn't matter, we'll disguise that. So I'm going to do some ink blending with the Lavinia Elements Della Blue. I know the recipient, she likes blue, so I will mostly keep the card blue. Just testing it on the side, but that's okay, it's not too juicy. I'm coming in from the corners. I just see here, I have got some residue of the ink on the masking tape, and I'm just shifting that about, which is not good. So I need to take that off. I'd never thought about that. Tell you what I will do, I will put another layer over the top, just to protect that. See if I can get away with it then. The VersaFine Clear here, that should be dry by now. So I might have a little bit there and a little bit there, but I've already got a bit of grey there, which is not ideal, but I'll probably have to put a bit more blue down. Yeah, see, it's not even sticking down properly because it sits on the top. But never mind, I'll just apply a little bit more blue. So again, I'm doing this off camera, and then I'll show you finally what I'm doing with the wool. My ink blending is not super smooth, but I like this look actually. If you ever find you're not happy with it, obviously you can apply more ink, but also give it some time to dry, or you can use some water spritz and get some more texture on this, but I don't want to do that on this card now. What I will do though is use my heat tool to warm up that masking tape a little bit. Makes a little bit of noise just on the first heat setting just to warm up the glue, and then it will be much easier to peel off. Maybe I've taken the first layer off anyway, so that should come off easily. And if don't tear it if you find it's not coming off. Use your heat. This is some cheap stuff. I bought that online. Maybe one day I should invest in something better. See the actual glue there peeling off like a nose strip, if you know what I mean. There we go. I've got a bit of residue left. I will pick that up in a moment, so I just want to make sure I don't have any on my finger. But I like the look of that you've got this sort of size. But this, as I said, I need to remove that a little bit. I can do that with an eraser. I can use a little bit more of tape or different tape and just see if I can peel it off. So now the thing I wanted to do to colour these in is I want to cut myself a little stamp out of foam. So I will use my original stamp here. I will die cut this and use this as a stamp template, that's the word, template to cut this from Kids Craft Foam. I have cut myself two pieces, one that I try to make as exact as possible and the other one doesn't have to be the same size. This is just to give me a little bit of height on my stamp acrylic block. So I'm just putting some removable adhesive on here. Put the wonky one on first and then stick this one down. I haven't cut it exactly. Can you see how you've got some indentations there? This is more or less round because I didn't want to have to align it all the time. Just making sure it actually sits so that I can see what I'm doing. So, and then I can use this as an ordinary stamp. I'm having a trial run on a scrap piece here. I'm using the Della Blue again, I think. This should stamp darker than it ink blends. I might have to use the VersaFine, but no, I like that. Can you see? Got a really soft look. I've got a bit of a wonky edge there, but I'm not cutting that now. I'm just going with it. If you want to cut this with a die, you could do that. Just keep in mind that when you put it through the die cutting machine, only to put it through once so that it doesn't distort. So I can now see here where I need to stamp, and I'm colouring this in. I might have to do the inner ones first and then go on the edge, because this might leave an edge on the actual foam. Take your time, give it some time for the ink to sink in. There you go. It's not exact, as I said, I'm missing out a few bits, but it's the overall effect and I think it's quite cool that way. So I'm going to continue this, and then I'm getting some supplies ready to turn this little bit into an actual, well, sort of half ball of, brain's just gone, half ball of wool. Where I've got my sentiment strip, I didn't take that into account. I need to do some masking again, so ideally I wouldn't have peeled it off just yet. So I'm just placing some scrap paper here over that area, and then I can stamp these two. So when I peel this off now, yeah, I've got the edges there nicely. To create my ball of wool, I've got two toothpicks. I have already, with my scissors, chopped off the very tips here, because I checked, I've got two little beads here, and when I poke these onto these ends, I don't want the tips to show on the other side. So I need a little bit of glue on these. I will try to use the hot glue, which has only just got hot. So I'm just, oh sorry, you can't see that on the side here. I'm actually picking it up here from the glue gun itself, and then try to pick this up because I'm hoping that I won't have too much residue of the glue there. You can use an acrylic glue if you've got any. I was only reminded this morning on YouTube that I actually have got the glossy accents. That usually works quite well, but I don't use it often enough. See, this one's already got a little bit too much glue on there. I'll have to tidy that up afterwards. So again, showing you here, just dipping this in there just to pick this up. No, might not be hot enough yet. But yeah, when it has cleaned up, I will use my tweezers and try to pull that off. I will do this off camera. So the other thing I have got, I don't have much wool in my, well, I do have a little bit, but not enough. But I do have some embroidery thread. And my idea is to wind this on here, but I don't want to go all the way around because then I've got a 3D piece of wool, and I just want it to be really on the front. So my idea was to go on the back, but then sort of glue it down, go on the other side, but not go all the way around and just go back in different directions. I'll test that in a moment. But one thing I need to do before I do that is these now knitting needles. First of all, if I try to overlap them, they've got quite a bit of dimension, and I think they are a wee bit too long for the front. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them in the middle. I'm going to cut a tiny bit out. Oh, make sure they don't end up where you don't want them to end up. So, and don't use your good paper scissors. So I need to find the piece that has gone somewhere on my desk. And that one as well, bear with me. So when I was just looking for my pieces, I thought it might actually make sense to cut another piece in blue, because if I have any cardstock showing through the threads afterwards, then at least I see blue cardstock and not the white. I'm just using my hot glue here now out of convenience. So I want to put these sticks down here now, but at an angle. So I'm just putting the glue here in the middle, and then have these two at an angle like this. Could probably have used a little bit more glue, and I'm just getting conscious that I'm actually going off camera. And then I can put this one here as an extension. I've cut the bit out, and then this one can go on this angle here. I'll probably cut a little bit more of this one because of where it sits. So it looks a bit funny at the moment, but I think once we're finished with it, it'll be fine. Just using the needle there to push this down. It looks right. You can always straighten it out a little bit afterwards. It's still hot there. So I'll put another glue on the top, and then I'll show you what I want to do with the embroidery thread. I have managed to pull my excess glue off just with my tweezers here. That wasn't a problem once it was dry. And I have put another piece of cardstock on the front just to hide these toothpicks just a little bit more. So now I can, oh, and I have put a little bit of red tape on the back. Not perfectly all the way around. I hope I'm getting away with that. So now I can start putting my twine down. And the idea is to sort of fold it across. Let me just zoom in a little bit more. Also, apologies, the light is going a little bit. I'll try not to put my lights on here just yet. So I'm sticking it down, and rather than going all across, I just want to come back on the side there. Just press it down there, folding it over, and coming over at a different angle. And I want to continue this until I have actually filled this mostly up. I might at one point have to go around all around the back, but at least I don't want to have the same dimension as I have on the front. So I stuck another piece of sticky tape in the middle after I had sort of nothing exposed anymore, but I did for the last few threads. I did go all the way around also on the back just to catch the right bits. This one is still a little bit loose because I want to glue this down now. And I will actually put my hot glue again on, making sure that these bits that are just sticking down on the sticky tape, that these actually don't come off. I really want to be sure. So, but I had just had a trial run and I thought if I sit this down here, it does get too lost. So I will actually cut myself a nice little die cut piece in white, I think, and maybe a circle. I'll see if I've got a scalloped circle, something for this to sit on. And I might even add some other embellishments like some ribbon or so. I'm not quite sure yet. I will decide this off camera. I glued my element on a scallop die cut. I only noticed afterwards, by the way, that these, well, this one's actually a bit wonky, this toothpick, but it doesn't matter. So, and I placed my card base onto, oh sorry, the piece here onto my card base. This is 5 by 7 inches, and then I stuck this down just with some wet glue. That's the advantage of using the hot glue on a piece. You only need to put the piece down then with your ordinary glue. But yeah, I'm really pleased with this. A few ideas for you. If you wanted to, you could have some thread hanging loose, but because the stamp didn't have that, I didn't want to do that. You can also use acrylic paint or something like the gilding polishes to ink up or colour the toothpicks before you actually use them, but I quite like the wooden look of these. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this. It's what I sort of envisioned when I started making this card. And yeah, if you like this card too, please give me a thumbs up, and if you can, please subscribe, comment and share. And I'll see you soon with another video.